new man's club. We're gonna be selling.
Hi everybody, welcome to the show. I am so excited today because we are bringing our show live streamed from Melbourne, Australia to Boca Raton, Florida. And I'm so excited about this, and I want to reach out to all of my new friends around the world. So thank you for joining in to our show. I'd like to just do a little brief message or talk about myself for those who don't know me. I'm Amy Reshefsky, and I am a self-taught artist, and I've been lucky enough to have had some opportunities to have my own studios and galleries, and now I have a really great spot here at the Brooklyn Cafe with Amp Media Productions, where my art is all around the walls, and also we do a lot of sets with the pictures. As you can see, like there's one there. We change them up for different shows, and a lot of the different studios have art in it, and it's much more pleasing to the eye. And I'm really grateful to have that opportunity. So I'd like to talk about being about 18 years ago, my husband and I had gone off to Canada on a business trip, and we fell in love with Quebec. And we purchased a home there, and we've been going back there for 18 years now, and mostly summers. I mean, we've done some nice winter trips, but mostly in the summer, where I am so into the nature and the foliage and enjoy the whole atmosphere, and it's where I really started to paint. And we would take some drives through different towns, and we have like highways that go through the different, I call them villages. And when you look to the right and left as you're driving and you see a church steeple, you know that you've come to another town. So, and they're very quaint and French and wonderful. And I had a friend that offered me barnwood and see if I wanted to use it. So I had it laid out in my garage, and one piece stands out. There were actually many of these pieces, but one stood out to me as I looked at it, and from an artistic eye, you can see so many different things. And it was a long piece, and it had a long nose, and it reminded me of an alligator. So I went for it, and right in the middle where the eye would be a little hole that was done there by nature, and it was a perfect spot for the hole. So then I would paint the rest of it, and I started to do a bunch of them for really children's rooms. And I do know that a lot of adults had purchased them too. I don't know where they would put them, but they were really fine and fun. So the rest of the wood pieces I started to look at them, and I was so influenced by the fact that the terrain of the cities, and which I love to still say villages, it really inspired me to start to paint my villages. So I have one right here. I had brought it back from Canada, and as you can see, it's like a little road up, and then there's quaint little houses, and I did many of those. And when I got tired, when I didn't get tired, when I went back to the States, it's very hard to find the barnwood, so I started to do it on canvases, and they were fun. They were like, narrow and tall, and people put their villages on the walls, and it was really a lot of fun. And so the reason that I'm really brought this up today, because I can talk about a lot of different mediums, because I love to really get into different directions, and you give me a challenge and I just jump on it. So I really, really love the fact that I am telling you a story about why I was influenced with my villages. And that really, I just want to point out that when you have a buyer or you have somebody that's attracted to your work and they're looking at it and they're trying, it's a very emotional thing for them to figure out if that's something they can live with, if they really love it. And if the artist is there or the curator, thank you, is there to discuss the piece, it really makes a major connection with the buyer and the artist. And I also mentioned a couple of times, since I'm a late bloomer artist, I didn't learn till recently that how important it was to document your work. And as you, now with the new technology and the fabulous cameras on our phones, you could do videos and you could take shots as you're working on the piece. And when you finish with that, it is the most important piece of the authenticity of your work. So I really like to put that out there, and I've said it a few times on my show, but for anybody that is new to the business, I think it's real important that you start doing that. And the reason that I did discuss my villages is because I told you a story, which leads me to our guest today, and I'm so excited to have Wayne Elliott, and he will be coming on after the commercial. Sneaky Wayne. And we've had so much fun getting to know each other, and his art is just amazing, and I have a feeling that he's going to tell you some really interesting stories. So we're going to do our commercial, and we're going to come back, and then we're going to give him a lot more time. So I'll see you in a few minutes.
Come see Amy Reshefsky, an artist here at the gallery. She has a plethora of art styles that will indeed captivate the human spirit, mind, body, and soul. From her vibrant pieces to her most shrouded pieces, come down and see Amy Reshefsky. Come see Amy Reshefsky, an artist here at the gallery. She has a plethora of art styles that will indeed captivate the human spirit, mind, body, and soul. From her vibrant pieces to her most shrouded pieces, come down and see Amy Reshefsky.
Sigma on the beat. Sigma on the beat.
We're back. So welcome back. And I'd like to just make a little announcement about my show next week because I'd like to give Wayne a little more time. So we have Andreas is coming on next week, and we're going to have a floral show. He is an amazing artist, and he's going to be doing a floral arrangement to match one of my paintings. So I just wanted to put that out because we're going to get right into meeting Wayne. So when Wayne's ready to pop up, I'm going to say hello. There he is. Hey, Wayne. Welcome. Can you hear
morning,
okay?
how are you?
Oh, there you are. We've
Yes,
had such a great time getting to know each other in the past couple weeks, and how we met is it was interesting, and here we are today interviewing. So welcome and thank you so much for being here. So you want to
Thanks for
just
the
tell us a
opportunity
little
to
bit
come on.
about you, and then we'll move on to talk about your wonderful art pieces.
So I'm a self-taught artist, or in Australia, I think the term is called naive. It can be referred to many other terms, and art naive and the outsider art in some terms, but essentially I'm a self-taught artist. Who's
I think we're the best
painting.
self-taught.
Sorry?
I said the best artists are self-taught because we have whatever.
That's right.
Yeah, there we go.
So it's a bit of finding your own way, and I was probably lucky. I had no art background, but I ran into a friend who painted, and he suggested that I continue as an artist. So that was sort of how I got into art. So yeah, it's been a great journey.
And I know that you've been painting all over the world, and you've had followers from everywhere, and that's really amazing. So let's talk about a little bit about your art. So we can put the first painting up, and then we can start moving along with that. Okay. So go for it.
So this is the painting behind me, which is and I'm coming from New Melbourne, Australia. So people may be familiar with Melbourne, Australia as a bit of a sporting capital of the world. We've just had the Australian Open finish, and this picture behind me here or on the screen is Melbourne, is the MCG, which is sort of the sporting hub in Melbourne. So we play Australian rules football, which is different to American football. And it's very popular. This is a 1970 grand final, which is sort of an iconic event that happened whereby a team that was trailing at half time came back and won the game. It's Carlton Collingwood. They're both very passionate football teams here in Australia, in Melbourne. So it's a painting that I've enjoyed making.
Yeah, it's good that you had it behind you because it's more detailed than what I think we can see down below. But the reason why you'll see as we move on to your next paintings, the images. Yeah, like okay, so that one is go for it, and I'll continue my thought.
So this is the Paris-Roubaix, which is a really famous cycling race in Europe, and I happened to be in France at the time, and an Australian won the race. It was an amazing to watch, and it's got a lot of history that goes back a long time. It's raced on cobblestones through the villages, so it's an incredible event whereby lots of times they don't make it to the finish. But yes, obviously the French architecture and the fields and the roads that sort of wind through, and the cobblestone race that it's on is very important. So yeah, that's how that one, and it finishes in a stadium. Yeah.
I love the fact that when I explained to people about you, I said, oh, it's like he's flying over the image and he can look down on it and actually see it in his mind, right? And then paint it, because most of your photographs of your paintings that we have today is that image that you're looking down, and you depict every like little character and stonework and all these little men and women, and it's very cool.
I think it's creating a story. So you're sort of trying to imagine yourself above the landscape or the event, and then take in, well, what are the objects or what are the things that you want to include in that story that make up the story. So it's sort of it's a different way of seeing really how we do it. So it's a visualization that I think I was brought up in a small country town in the Western District in Victoria, near Melbourne, and there was a volcano, and I used to go up on top of the volcano and look down. So I think
Wow.
in some ways that's perhaps influenced my view of the world because I climbed this volcano. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's a major niche that you can have that image, and I think it's a great asset to what you're doing. So let's look at another one. Okay, this one's really cool.
So this is Krakow in Poland. Back in 2018, I took about 45 artists to Poland for an exhibition. Australia was the focus country. It's one of the biggest international art exhibitions in Europe.
Really?
And I think there were about 30,000 people through. And we got to show some really great Australian art in Europe. And while I was there, I travelled to Krakow, and I was just amazed by Krakow. And obviously, there's a lot of history in Poland. And this was an old city with a new city on the outside, with a road around and a garden where people could, lawns where people could run. So once again, it's a narrative of a city that I experienced.
I was in Krakow in 1987, and it was quite different. I mean, we didn't even have paper products when we were there, and if you wanted a glass of water, they gave you it in a glass on the street. And I mean, it was so different. And it's just amazing to see the growth in Poland now, and how the cities have just grown and become what they are today. And it must have been a great experience to see it more modernized than what I would have remembered. So
it was great, and the Polish people were very good in accepting the Australian artists over there and promoting us. So I was in Katowice in Poland, the Art Naive Festival, which they have every year. So yeah.
Oh, it's every year, the festival?
Every year, yep.
Yeah, well, I guess not
Yep,
right
yep.
now. Yeah. So how's the COVID in Australia?
We came out of lockdown about 5 days, 5 or 6 days ago. We'd been in a 5-day lockdown, but I must say here is, it's under control as much as it can be. So, and I feel for obviously everyone in the world in terms of what's going on at the moment. So,
Do you have the injections now? Are people getting shots
they've
yet?
just started rolling them out this week. Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. All right. So hopefully that'll go pretty fast. But, I know your guidelines are very strict, so you can really nip it in the butt. I know you were down 112 days once, and right, and now, hopefully everybody, maybe by the end of the year, we can all be back to who we were supposed to be and where we want to go. Because I would love to get back. I'd love to get back to Australia for sure. That was a marvelous trip. Okay, so let's take another peek at another photo.
So this is up in the Northern Territory. So this is in the middle of Australia, in Central Australia, where it's mainly desert. And I had the opportunity, some of the artists that I took to Poland, Indigenous artists, were from this area in Tennant Creek, Barclay Arts. And I had the opportunity to go up there and paint with the local artists and work with them. So it was a great opportunity. So this is one of the paintings that's come out of there. It's basically about the landscape and the sort of things that appear in the landscape. And yeah.
What were you teaching them how to paint?
No, we're just working with them. So they paint in a similar style. They're a self-taught artists, and we just go out into areas and paint together. So it was more or less just group painting out in the landscape. So each person had their own style, and we just went off, and it was more about as a community painting in the desert. Yeah.
Because it's more desert-like. When they're painting, are they adding any foliage or anything? Is everything's just dry-looking desert feels, or are they a little more creative?
It's dry. I mean, the dry, but there's like small trees that are in the area. So there is foliage. It's not basically just bare desert, which you may imagine it is.
Yeah.
It's quite rocky up around there. Sort of red rocks and things. A lot of mining around that area. So it's not basically flat with nothing there.
Okay, all right. So you're. It's hard for me to really see it from here, but are those trees and stuff on the mountains, or they're just
They're small. the small trees and rocks, and in the background there's more foliage, like
Okay,
a sort of
okay.
forest out. Yeah, yeah.
What's the most favorite city that you've gone to? That you painted, or you did a painting of?
In the world? Yeah, I
Yeah,
like
you
Prague.
got a big world there.
Yeah, Prague is very nice. I must say that in Quebec, I've been lucky to go to a little small town in Quebec, Magog, which has a museum which I have a painting in Canada, in Quebec, and it's a marvelous little village, and the people there looked after me at the museum. So I've been there and been to that small
What
village.
city is that in Quebec?
Magog, Magog.
Oh, okay. So it's maybe west of Montreal? I'm just trying to picture where it would be.
I went from Montreal towards the US border. It's just
Oh,
inside
okay.
the US.
Oh, okay. It's on the border.
It's on a lake.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Not bad. Yeah, I have a lot of Canadian friends watching, so I just wanted to bring that up too.
Yeah, no, I give Quebec a big plug. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I fell in love with Quebec. Yeah, it's very cool. All right, so let's go to another one. Okay.
So this is Bali. So I went to Bali some years ago, and this friend took me. Her husband, he lived in a small village in Ubud, and they had the full moon ceremony. So I had the opportunity to go with the family to the full moon ceremony, which I was very lucky to be able to do. So once again, it's like your work, Amy. It's a small village. With
That's
some
why I did
temples.
it.
Yeah, so obviously Bali, each town or each house has its own temple, but there's also a community temple. So for the big ceremonies like the full moon ceremony, this happened there. So I went to that. So this is a story of that with the rice fields and everything else. So yeah.
Well, that's a great experience. So they're little houses with their own little temples, and their they grow rice all around them. And
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. And so did you learn? Well, it helped you learn a different style for the painting because of the little huts and stuff. So I mean, like everything
Correct. I think-
influences you to show how you feel about where you were. And that's
I think it's that immersion in the landscape, or that where you're walking through the landscape, or like you driving through the landscape. I think that's a really important part of taking, a bit like a sponge. You're taking everything in, and then in your own mind you try and conceptualise, well, how do I represent this on a canvas? So essentially that's what I do.
Yeah, that's the perfect way. All right. Do we have another one? Oh, we do. Okay. So you have some writing on this one.
Yeah, so this is part of my process. So in terms of, if I'm out in the landscape, how do I work out what the painting may look at work? So this is sort of what I call a thumbnail sketch.
Okay.
So I'll write notes on it, I'll do sketches, but this is a really important part of me moving through from actually being in the landscape to actually creating the artwork in the end. This is sort of the middle ground.
Yeah, I mean, because this one's, this is your setup, really,
Correct,
to
yeah.
formatting
Yeah.
your idea. Okay.
Yeah.
And where was this?
That's the Bungles, which is it's like they're little beehive structures, mountains in the Western Australia, in the Pilbara, up at northwest Western Australia. It's a magnificent place. If you ever get to go there, it's a wonderful place.
Yeah, I would really love to do that. Yeah. As far as an artist, going anywhere is so special to your imagination, and that's the best part of traveling. So hopefully we'll all get to do that again real soon.
Yes, true.
So
Right.
do you have? I know you have major awards, and so are you scheduled for any shows that when we get out of COVID? Will you be in different countries again?
I've just come out of I was shortlisted for what's called the Pro Art Prize in Broken Hill, which is a sort of in an outback area. That was just recently, so which I was very lucky. And currently I have work at a gallery in Ocean Grove in Victoria in Australia here at the Hive. So they have my work on exhibition all the time, which is a great gallery, and I'm very lucky to have it. So it's near Geelong. I live near Geelong, so
Oh, that's wonderful.
I'm very lucky.
Yeah. So, do you ever paint on, like a plein air kind of painting thing? Would you go to somewhere and just start painting, or you like to do it a little more privately?
Yeah, it tends to start with sort of the one you got down the bottom there. That's how I'll start it. I'll take photos, maybe do some videos, and I'll have these little sketches. But I have painted a whole painting on site, but most of the time, probably due to time, you tend to be making the sketches and then working, problem solving in your own mind. How do I represent it? So I'm a big believer in the skills that art allow people to, there's communication, there's problem solving, there's teamwork in terms of some of the things that you're doing. So I think art is a really powerful and has a lot of value for people, to be able to use and develop themselves.
Okay, that sounds great. Is there anything that you'd like to add to your story today? Because I love your stories.
Yeah, no. I think for anyone, if art is a wonderful medium to obviously enjoy when you're travelling, and just to take it up as a pastime and enjoy it. And I think, the process for me of creating art is probably really important. Is the making side of it. And it's nice to have your final product, but I think that process of making and trying to think through, I think, is great. So I've been very lucky, and thanks for the opportunity, and thanks for everyone for listening in from around the world and taking the opportunity, and hope we continue to promote art throughout the world. So thanks for the opportunity, Amy.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And and when we see your art, we know it's yours because it's so into where your mind is, and I absolutely adore the fact that we put this all together and we added stories. And as I said earlier in the show, stories is the biggest part of the piece and being influenced by it. So thank you so much, Wayne. It was just awesome to have you, and I hope we can keep our relationship going country to country, and I look forward to doing some more stuff with you, and I appreciate everything, and thanks so much for being on the show today. And also, can you tell everybody how to get in touch with you?
Yes, so you can go to wayneelliotartist.com on my website, or if you find me on social media, or even on the website's probably the best, and it's got the links and everything there. But
is that Wayne,
well
WAYNELLE 2? Did I get it right?
Yes, two. Yes, that's right.
Wow.
2 L's, 2 T's. So
my mind's working. That's terrific. All right, well, I'm going to continue on, but I'm going to say goodbye, and I really, really have had a blast getting ready for you, and I've even worn my Australian pants. So see you later.
Nice for you to get casual. Thank you.
Okay, see you later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. So that was a great show, and I just wanted to make an announcement, a special announcement. In March 11th, you should mark your calendars, because we have the world-renowned drummer, rock fine artist, John Douglas, to appear. There it is, and he's going to be appearing in Delray Beach, and we're have the opportunity to have him on our show, and how lucky are we. And I'm so excited. So please, we're going to be on a Thursday that day, so make note of it. And as you can see, the paintings on the brochure here are John's paintings, and we'll get to see a lot more and hear a lot about him. So I hope you enjoyed our show today, and I really look forward to next week when Andreas comes on, and we'll have a live demonstration. It'll be a lot of fun, and I'll see you next week. So have a wonderful, artful day. Bye.